So basically we used to conduct these workshops because of the COVID. We have moved to a virtual platform where we are conducting most of our training programs and workshops and webinars. So yesterday we had a workshop on artificial intelligence, like how we use, like what are the artificial intelligence applications in our daily life. Response from participants. We thank you for that, and we have our upcoming program, our 5-day certification program on artificial intelligence, where you will learn the basics of MATLAB. From there, how to develop a artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep network. So how you develop the applications using MATLAB software. So that is a 5 days program was planned for tomorrow. From tomorrow it is starting 26th to 30th. If any of the participants are interested, I think most of you might have received the link for registration. I request participants to register before today evening so that they can start the session tomorrow. The session 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. That is in the evening, just to make comfort to all the participants that see our happen in the evening, because we don't want to disturb the academics of the faculties and students. Pramod, you are joined, Pramod?
Hello, I'm there.
Yeah. Morning, Pramod. So we have Dr. Pramod joining in. So he will be taking through about 90 minutes of this session. So as you, most of you knows about the Pramod. So he has a PhD. So he has extensive knowledge on MATLAB. Plus, he also works with Pinkboard with Python. So today we'll be seeing how exactly the FPGA can be programmed with Python. So that is what is this workshop is about. So he will show you the Pinkboard also, along with few of the applications running on Pinkboard. So this complete 90-minute session dedicated towards Pink. So how exactly the FPGA can be with. So you don't have to know the Xilinx software to program FPGA. Now Xilinx has come up with a new platform called Pink. So where the FPGAs can also be programmed with Python, the open source, what we call it as. Python is open source, wherein you can deploy many of the AI and ML applications on FPGAs. And this is a very low cost board, or close to about 15 to 16,000 rupees with the accessories, wherein you can implement and deploy your artificial intelligence applications. If someone is looking at for any project related to these topics, they can definitely think about this platform. And there are a few more platforms with NVIDIA. People who are looking forward any platforms, they can contact us. We will definitely help you out. So I will just hand over to Pramod. So Pramod, start the session. So it is already 11:05. Pramod, you can share your screen, Pramod. And once again, my participants, kindly be on mute. There will be a chance given to the participants to speak. So as I was telling in the beginning, I request all the participants to share the feedback at the end. The feedback link will be shared in your chat box. Please wait and then submit it. The people who are going to submit the feedback form, the certificate will be issued to those participants only. So I'm making it clear. I don't need any emails coming from, sir, I have not received the feedback link, or I have not received the certificate. Like whoever submit the feedback, we will have the data. The certificates will be issued to those participants only. Thank you. Yeah, Pramod, you can start, Pramod.
Okay. My name is Dr. Pramod Kumar Naik. So today, let me just welcome you all for this virtual workshop on Pink and Python. and its application. So we'll not just stick to one platform here. So we have a couple of platforms. Demo, I'll just show it to you. Followed by that, I have the Ping platform connected here. So I'll just show you a few of the demos on those board also. So as far as our architecture, you'll be able to use this particular open source platform from say Xilinx to make what is called as your Python language and libraries based on machine learning. Keras, TensorFlow can be implemented on. I know that we will be able to do.
Pramod, can you check your voice? Voice is not coming. You are there? Pramod? Pramod, can you check your voice is not coming, Pramod? Kavemala. I think there is a technical error. He will be joining in because he has connected the ping board to the system. The system has hang, so he'll be rejoining. Just couple of minutes. I think 1 minute he'll join back. And let me tell you, there are some queries regarding the recorded session. No, you will not be getting the recorded session. We'll just see if possible. We'll do that. I will just see after the session, and hope you are taking good care of yourself. Yeah, Pramod is back. Let me just answer a few of your queries.
Param, you hear my voice?
Yeah, Pramod, now it's clear. Yeah.
Yeah, Pramod, it's clear. Just you need to share your content. That's good enough.
Yeah. So as we were discussing we have he is also the co-founder of Apply Volt, and he has almost around 50 experience, and he also takes care of the Tamil Nadu
Pramod, sorry to interrupt. Your screen is not visible.
Check your screen, Pramod. Yeah.
You're able to see my screen?
Yeah, Pramod, now it's fine. Go ahead.
Ramesh, almost around 15 years of experience, and he has a wide range of expertise in the area of, say, VLSI, and he sells a lot of products associated and positions these products. He closely works with companies like Xilinx. He has expertise in the area of Mentor Graphics. So when you look into his experience, it's very vast. So when you look into most of the colleges across Hyderabad, Andhra, so Telangana, you can see that he has set up many center of excellences. It might be not only in Tier 1 and Tier 2 colleges, it includes IITs and NITs also. So you have his presence almost in most of the colleges across the belt which I was mentioning in. So followed by that, as far as Agimus Technologies and Apply Volt is concerned, we are a technology partner, and we have say a decade of experience in the area of VLSI, IoT, embedded communication, PCB, antenna prototyping technology, CIE, and artificial intelligence. So these are few of the areas where we conduct a lot of trainings. We also set up center of excellences in these areas which I just mentioned. Okay, say for example, you might have used miniature boards like ESP8266 for your IoT lab, but we are talking about using FPGAs. Okay, so you know that 5G technologies and are coming into market, and these labs would be set up at low cost. Okay, and the pricing details you can just check out with Ramesh Naidu and Parameshwar Naik, so who would be able to tell you like what kind of IoT platforms we provide in. We also have association in terms of antenna prototyping technology, where we set up 5G labs also in terms of using Z boards and FM comms we provide in, and we'll be able to do that. We also have areas in terms of artificial intelligence, machine learning. So this is one of the trending area where we are talking about, instead of purchasing cloud GPUs, which are very costly, which are minute by minute, or it will be hourly basis where it's very costly. So we would be supporting, and we have our platforms which support you to develop artificial intelligence applications, and then you'd be able to prototype on hardware. So one such hardware which I'll be demonstrating today is Pink, which is an SoC, a platform which is having an ARM as well as an FPGA available in it. Okay, so as far as solutions are concerned, we have a wide range of solutions in terms of electronics, mechanical products, okay, IoT, embedded, PCB, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. So who are our technology partners? So as per this particular slide, you can look into it. These are the MNCs who are closely associated with us. Okay, I request NVIDIA, who provides us the GPU. Okay, who is basically you'll be having AI and ML solutions to be deployed on NVIDIA. We also have FPGAs from Xilinx, where also you will be able to prototype your algorithms on FPGA. AI and ML algorithms can be prototyped on it. We also have CAE partner, and if there is any requirement on these product portfolios, you can contact us surely. Followed by that, we also have of industrial IoT. So LoRa basically stands for long range IoT solutions, where you would be able to transmit your data almost in the range of 9 kilometers. Okay, so this is one of the technology where your gateways not only have antennas, even your sensor nodes. The nodes also have Zigbee based RF transmitter and receivers available in it. So this is one of the platform which you can widely use in, and where you can also use LoRa WAN. Different platforms also, in terms of digital, you can see there are a lot of IoT new platforms which are out there. So if there is any requirement in terms of FPGAs from Digilent, okay, which are developed at somewhere around 16 nanometer, the ultra scale platforms which I'm talking about. So those are out there in market last month. So if there is any requirement in this particular area, we also support, not only sell the products, we support and help you develop what is called as projects on those. Okay, so there might be certain companies who the products and go in, but we, as per as our mail contacts are concerned, you can just look into our websites, what kind of trainings we do in, right? And how exactly the in terms of FPGAs are there, because we have our own PCB uh, platform in which is from our technology partner called as Ento. And if there is any requirement in terms of developing your own boards, okay, so you can have your end-to-end PCB solution where you will be able to create a two-layered PCB in, and that lab can be set up inside a college. Okay, so which is a low-cost platform which you would be able to use it. Okay, followed by, if you're interested in something called as chip designing, so it might be in terms of doing it from front end, uh, say transistor level, right? Where you're writing a Verilog code and then deploying it and verifying it. So we have products associated to Mentor Graphics like QuestaSim, right? Precision. Precision is one of the software where it might FPGAs from different vendors, like it might be from Xilinx, Digilent, or it might be platforms from Altera. So you can use the same Precision RTL software, and then you'll be able to deploy your Verilog or VHDL code on the FPGA. So that comes from Mentor. And Mentor Graphics also has this PCB pads solution and backend solutions also. So you do both digital and analog design. So we have softwares like Pixis, and where you'll be able to do the schematic and then layout of it, perform DRC LVS, okay, which is basically design check. You'll be able to do that, and then once this has been done, you'll be able to apply what is called as PCB pads on it. Say the IO pads, you'll be able to do it, and once you're able to get the Gerber file, we also have technology of giving you the PCB mate machine. Whatever PCBs you have designed in, you can actually get two-layered PCB developed inside your college. Okay, so I mean, the proposals associated to which and all colleges where we have set up the the PCB labs, you can just check out with the sales team. They would be the right people to tell you more on that. As far as other technologies, what we have pointed out here, okay, so let me just, okay, so we also have partnered with one of the training solution, which is a prime company which is known by. So TVS is starting its training solutions, and we are the technology partners with them. So we know that the advent of electric vehicles. So yesterday I was reading an article in LinkedIn. Uh, because of Corona, you can see that this, it might be in any industrial domain drastically in terms of sales and solution. But as far as electrical vehicles, electrical vehicle domain is concerned, you can see the number of purchase of electric vehicles currently in India. It has been increased to an range of somewhere around 18%. Okay, so compared to last year, this year the sales have drastically increased by 18%. And even though there is an effect of Corona, you can see 46 companies have been yeah, I'll be using annotate whenever I require it, because this is just a theory which I'm talking about. I'll use that, because what happens is when I'm using annotate, it's not allowing me to change my slide. Okay, so that's the reason I just ignore it. Okay, so as far as the training solutions are concerned here, as in terms of what is called as TVS, you might be interested in knowing the architecture of the electric vehicle. It might be two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, or it might be in terms of what is called as arriving at solutions in terms of battery management system, how exactly you'll be able to model it. And then as far as other training solutions are concerned, like the modeling of electric vehicles are also being taught during this particular training. So anyone who is interested in these areas, because that's the current trend which we have in. So we are also partnered with the TVS training and solutions in these areas. Okay, so BLDC motor modeling and all, it's very complex, right? So this is one of the technology partner who would be sharing you all these details. And anyone is interested, you can just get in touch with the sales team. They'll be able to brief you more on that. So these are our technical experts. I'll not brief you more on it. We have Mr. Rajesh, who has somewhere around 7+ years experience. We have Nagaraj, Srinivasu, and Pradeep. Okay, so who take care of our training as well as product and solution details. So these are our details, and in terms of technical know-how. So what kind of projects we are dealing with as far as Corona is concerned? We have developed our own social distance maintaining detector. So it has been deployed in various locations. So you can see here, it is basically a computer vision based face recognition algorithm which is developed on CNN, and which captures the details associated to the people who are standing in a row. Okay, and it measures the social distancing, uh, what is called as the distance. You can see here on the second image, between these two, there are bounding boxes of red. In the first image, you can see bounding boxes of green, whereas in this case, you're able to see bounding boxes of red. Okay, because of that, what would happen is if there is anyone, you see that the bounding boxes are out there. Okay, is my voice audible?
Yeah, Pramod, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. So as far as this bounding boxes are concerned, since they are close enough, so it automatically gives you a siren stating that there is a mismatch in the distance, and that person who has come in between the queue, he has to move back. Okay. So this is one of the social distancing, what is called as detector, which was developed. Followed by that, there is something called as COVID-19 screening robot, which has a what is called as computer vision facial detection uh, algorithm on it, and it also automatically sprays the sanitizers. Okay, and it also does what is called as auto charging docking system, which is available on it. And basically, if there is a person who is actually not wearing mask, it will not allow that particular person to get into the office. So this is one of the screening robot which has been deployed in most of the corporates in Bangalore and Hyderabad. But by that, we have built a lot of projects uh, associated with respect to that of LoRa tracking system. So LoRa based tracking system, you can see that there is something called as cattle tracking LoRa sensor. We also have LoRa IoT based agriculture system. If there is, uh, based on the moisture content, the sprinklers or the drip irrigation system, okay, would automatically turn on if there is something called as dryness in the field. So such kind of real-time application developed on whatever LoRa technology which we were talking in. Okay, so we have technologies in terms of uh, provided to most of the customers, and these are few of our happy customers who are out there. We closely work with Indian Institute of Science, BITS Pilani. Okay, Indian Institute of Science, we are, acting as a consultants in terms of AI solutions with Prakash Negi. So it is in terms of certain projects they are working with in terms of say medical ambulance detection kind of project. As far as BITS Pilani is concerned, we are closely associated to them in terms of providing products and solutions in terms of various technologies. And these are few of the, universities where you can see that we have University of Hyderabad, Manipal, and few logos only we were able to put here. Okay, so we have a lot of customers, and we have also signed up a lot of center of excellences in across Karnataka. These are our training facilities where we conduct a lot of trainings. We not only do online trainings, we do offline trainings also. We conduct what is called as and master's program in autonomous vehicle driving as well as electric vehicle and machine. So we also conduct the online trainings, which will give you a gist of how exactly do our trainings. Followed by that, we also conduct in-house jobs and training. So if there is any requirement in terms of based it has to be conducted, we also do that. So that is with respect to the technology associated to Apply Volt and Agimus technologies. These are our contact details. Please take a photograph of it, everyone. And if there is any requirement on whatever products which which I haven't, so which we haven't, so if there is any requirement, you can just obviously send us a mail to the mail IDs depending upon your area of interest or depending upon your regions also. So If you're from Karnataka, Kerala, you can just send us a mail to info@agimustech.com, or if you are from Hyderabad and Vijayawada, you can send a mail to applyvolt.com. Okay, so with this, let me just the agenda for today. So what we is we would be talking. Is my voice not audible? Is my voice audible? Okay, thank you. As far as Zinc productivity is concerned in terms of Zinc platform, okay, so this is what we would be covering today. So as far as Pink, we consider here. So there are certain people facing these issues in terms of what is called as AI. Okay, so I mean in terms of voice. So I request them to just log out once and then log in. That would solve the issue, because generally if there is any glitches, it would remove. And so those who are facing the problem, please log out once using your mobile phone or your laptop and then log in back. Okay. So this is where we would be talking about Pink. The first question which arises is like, the question is what is meant by Pink. That is the first thing which you have to look into. And as far as Pink is concerned, the how exactly the Pink language and libraries are to be used in, and how you can exploit the Jupyter Notebook to develop what is called as AI-based applications. That's one of the things which you can use it. You can also use with new platforms like we have Zinc Scale Plus, Zinc RF SOC, okay, and then you have say boards like AWS F1, which you can use it for high performance applications where you want to use it for parallel hardware executions. So how exactly you will be able to use Pink, okay, board for developing AI applications is what I mean we would be focusing here in this particular section. So as we proceed further, what we have in this slides are, we'll be talking about what is called as Pink and Zinc Ultrascale, okay, and how exactly you will be able to use Zinc Ultrascale architectures. We'll be talking about it. We'll also talk about Pink framework, okay, so what are the libraries which are out there and how exactly you'll be able to do the programming. That also we'll be talking about. In terms of key technologies, like what is computing environment you require in, right? And how exactly you can do the live coding using various libraries which are available in Python, Jupyter Notebook, or it might be the Linux platforms which you are using in, where you can use these interactive widgets and exploratory text equations. It might be in terms of image, video, where you'll be able to develop algorithms within no time, and you'll be able to deploy these algorithms on these platforms. As far as Pink is, concerned, Pink is basically an enabled board which can be easily programmed using Jupyter Notebook, and that too using what is called as Python. We'll also talk about a lot of technologies in terms of hardware libraries, overlays which are out there, okay, and how exactly you are going to boot the board and how exactly you'll be able to connect it. All these things, step by step, we'll be covering it in no time. So please stay back. We'll also talk about communities where there is a lot of support in terms of the platform which you're using in. So you might have known across or come across the programming languages. Like we have programming languages like Java, C, C++, and we have Verilog, VHDL, and when you compare MATLAB, and then the last one is your Python. When you compare all these languages and just go to Google and then make a comparison of it, the current trend is Python. Okay, it might be TensorFlow, Keras, or the libraries which have been added up to it. Okay, and then you are able to work on the framework. So similar to that, what are the communities which are out there where you'll be able to develop these real-time applications is what we'll be discussing here. Okay, so let us go to these things one by one. Okay, architecture. Okay, so we are first, before going into Pink, let us understand what is meant by Zinc. Okay, so when you look into this particular slide here, you can see here is you have something called as Zinc 7000, which is one of the platform which is widely used, which has two things in it. Okay, the first thing is it is a FPGA, so you have programmable logic on it. And give me 1 second. It has something called as a programmable logic, okay, as well as it has something called as a processing. That means it has a ARM. Okay, I'm repeating it. This particular part is nothing but the ARM which is out there, okay, on a Zinc architecture, and it also has an FPGA which is representing what is called as your programmable logic. So what does this board infer is, if there is a large algorithm and you have CPUs, okay, you can use the same platform and deploy the algorithm on the ARM. Okay, and if you have code in Verilog and VHDL, and then at that case you can use the same board and then deploy the code on this particular platform on the PL. So it is a same platform where there is two divisions, that is, one is your ARM and another is nothing but your FPGA. Okay, so you may ask me, sir, like if I'm developing a control application, okay, and I want the controller part to be implemented on what is called as my ARM, okay, that's your processor, and then my control logic, I want to implement it on my FPGA. Can I do that? Yes. So the same board, okay, instead of taking two different platforms and then writing a communication bus between them, communicating what is called as protocol, communication protocol, there are buses like AXI buses where you can deploy the algorithm on your ARM as well as on your FPGA, and these AXI buses will communicate, and then whatever algorithm which you are trying to develop, it might be in terms of control and programmable logic, you'll be able to deploy on it. The added advantage here is it has an ARM dual core Cortex 7, okay, which is 2 in number. It also has a 512 KB of cache, which is out there, and you can see that it also has what is called as I2C architecture and CAN. So this is one of the two what is called as uh, peripherals or the IO, which is widely used in terms of what is called as using the board for automotive sector also. Okay, so whatever EC unit which are being out there, okay, in terms of vehicles which are talking about, so EC units can be developed by this particular FPGA. So you have your I2C as well as CAN, which is out there. People who are working in terms of video processing or audio processing, okay, I'm sorry, people who are working in terms of video and audio processing, you can see that there is an UART as well as the ADC which is out there, where you can use it for processing different multimedia based applications also. Okay, so as far as PCIe is concerned, so it also you can connect say an antenna and receive real-time AM and FM signals. Also 4G, LTE and 5G signals also can be received by the same platform. Okay, concerned, this is one of the platform where you can see that there is a processing system. Okay, this is one of the latest board which will be out there in market, where you can see that in the same board you have what is called as the processing system, and you can see that there is one more GPU which is out there. Okay. It has a DDR memory processing unit, so it can be used in high-end real-time applications also. And as far as cloud security is concerned, you can see that there is a security decryption and encryption protocol which is available on the same platform. Okay, so there are different platforms which will be out there in market. So one of the platform is what is called as your Zinc Ultra Scale. Okay, so as far as is concerned, I mean, you can see on the same Zinc, you have GPU, you have an ARM, you have a DDR and a high-speed display port, that is USB 3 with SATA 3.0. Okay, and also it can be used in say general connectivity in terms of CAN, I2C, UART, USB 2.0, SPIs, right? So these kind of architectures can be developed using this particular platform. But when you compare it in terms of pricing, and it is widely used in industrial applications. Why we are pointing out this particular board is people who are writing research grants, or if they are working on some research project, this is one of the platform which you can look for. Okay, so as far as FPGA is concerned, it is tightly integrated in terms of CPU enabled entirely with new opportunities. So I'll talk about the new opportunities at the end, but as far as application is concerned, so it can be used in terms of developing video processing application. It is widely used in robotics. It's also used in subsystem modeling in terms of substation modeling. Okay, uh, in terms of what is called as computer vision for say identification. Aerial vehicles also we have the new platforms which have been used in the aerial vehicles also, and it might be biomedical and so on. Zinc, it is very easily programmable, and we can also access the benefit of FPGA on the same board without learning the advanced digital design skills. So you did not learn the advanced digital design skills when this particular platform came out to market. I mean, I'll talk about the market strategy and how many boards were sold out. All those things I'll talk about that later. But as far as Zinc platform is concerned, it is widely used across universities as well as across what is called as the or in it might be in IITs, NITs, or it might be the universities which are out there in the globe. Okay. So as far as PINC framework is concerned, so observe here, we had just discussed about Zinc. Okay. PY stands for Python and NQ stands for Zinc. So a platform which has the capability of Zinc, that means it has both ARM as well as FPGA, and it also can be programmed using Python, hence the name PINC. I hope everyone understands. What did I say? We have what is called as Zinc, which has both ARM as well as FPGA. But what happens in case of PINC? These two words, which states that it has the Zinc architecture in it, and PY stands for Python. Okay, so hence the name what is called as PINC. So you can program a platform which has Zinc, that's a SOC, and you can program it by Python. So hence the name PINC. Okay, hence the name what is called as PINC. How exactly program an SOC using what is called as Zinc? We'll be just checking it out in a while. So as far as PINC framework is concerned, okay, so this is one of the thing which most of you would be interested in. So you can see here, whenever you look into PINC, most of you might have used Jupyter Notebook on your web browser. Okay, you can directly interface it with the platform. That means you will be able, if you have a LAN cable, okay, and through the LAN cable, you'll be able to connect what is called as the board, okay, to the hardware of your choice. You can also use the hardwares in terms of C drivers and the Python packages, which I'm talking about in terms of overlays. Okay, so basically you can make it as a Ubuntu based Linux which is running on it, and there are overlays on it so that you will be able to precisely communicate with it. And you also have the C driver wrappers running on it. Okay, so whenever you are trying to use the Python program Jupyter Notebook, your algorithm will directly go and sit on that particular platform without any inference. It also has connectivity in terms of visualizing it remotely. So what I'm trying to tell you is like you have one board, okay, which is powered in and connected like a system. Okay, say for example, just imagine it this way. There are two, one and two. Okay, so okay, systems like this. Okay, and if I have a LAN connection between these two systems, okay, if I want to transfer the file, okay, from this system to this system, what I've been requiring is I require the IP address. So each board which is given to you, it is a PINC platform, it will be having something called as an IP. Okay, so you can directly go to your web browser. Okay, you go to what is called as a web browser, open a web browser, and then say mention the IP in the address there. Okay, you'll be able to access, okay, this particular board which is connected or which is remotely somewhere. Okay, I'm repeating it. This is the what is PIN. I'll just write it as P Y, N, okay, Q. Okay, so this is the ping platform which we have in. So if they are connected, I mean, there will be two cables. One is for the power supply and one is for the what is called as your LAN cable. Okay, which you have connected it to the system. If you have the IP address of it, you can just go and type the IP address and you'll be able to access this particular board remotely also. It is also called as single board computer. Okay, where you can say HDMI display to it. Okay, you can connect a HDMI display through it. So whatever your image processing, video processing algorithm is running in, or your computer vision based machine learning algorithm is running in, so you can visualize that. So that is what it is. Okay. It also has the library develop the board support package library. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, so one new board comes into market, okay, and you want to program that particular board. A simple thing, whenever you purchase a new pen drive which is new to the market, you insert that particular pen drive into your desktop. What does it do? On the left corner there will be a icon which pops out and it says drivers getting installed, right? So which we call it as board support packages. So all these things would be already available to you. You need not develop those board support packages. So this board comes up with a ISO file where there will be a Linux which is running at the back, okay, and it also has the overlays where you'll be able to directly access the pin configurations of the board which you are using. So you can see that it also has platforms in terms of Ubuntu based Linux, okay, and you can widely use it in terms of developing the applications on real-time scenario. Okay, Linux is concerned in terms of embedded Linux. Okay, so you can see here the number of people using it. Okay, as far as the drivers and pre-built SD card image. So people might have used what is called as Raspberry Pi, right? How do I use a Raspberry Pi? What I do generally, I take one SD card, right? I go into the website which they have mentioned in, download the firmware from there. Okay, the board support package and the firmware from there. It will be like an ISO file. I transfer all the data of that ISO file, okay, into the what is called as memory card. Once I have that particular data downloaded it into the memory card, I insert that memory card into the board, right? So once I've done that, once I this particular board, okay, once I've done that, this particular board will start, and hence you'll be able to visualize the what is called as booting of that particular device, where there will be a certain LED which would turn on. So that can be an Ubuntu based Linux or an embedded based Linux is running on the SD card, whichever you are using it. Okay, so as far as Ubuntu based Linux is concerned, okay, you can see that number of Google hits compared to that of the Linux based what is called as Linux if you are working in. So you'll be just called as ISO into a SD card and inserting it into the slot which is being given on the hardware. So you can use a LAN cable or in terms of a device, and then you'll be able to program it. So in terms of Ubuntu based Linux is concerned, you can see that these are the libraries which are out there, which we call it as RFS, which is also called as the root system. So whenever you are using the ping and you want to make some changes in it, you have to go and get the root access to it. And once you get it, you will be able to make changes in the repository also. And then you'll be having the root file system where you'll be having the bootloader. So once you insert that particular what is called as, I mean, your memory card into the board, this is one of the bootloader is one of the things boot what is called as your device. It also would have packages associated to Debian packages associated to the repository, which would help you in accessing the different ports which are out there on your device. Okay, the pin which might be connected to LEDs or switches, all those things you can do that. You'll also be able to do development in cross compilers and develop the latest Python packages also. It can be additionally configured in terms of different platforms. Okay, so you can also interface it. Okay, interface it using what is called as platforms like Raspberry Pi. And under Pink also, there are different what is called as boards which come into market. Like we have Pink Z1, Digilent, which is from Digilent. Pink Z2 we have. Then we have what is called as ZCU 104. Then we have ZCU 111. Okay, so these are different platforms, and there are new platforms like Xilinx, Avalon, and so on. So which are these boards and which are those architectures? I'll just show it to you in a while. Okay, once I'll be switching to the pink.io website, I'll show you all those details. As far as ZCU 104 is concerned, we had, I think, given it to one of our customers in video welcome. You can see that it has a DDR4. Okay, generally you see DDR2 or DDR3. It has a DDR4 memory, which is almost equal to 2 GB. Okay, 2 GB DDR4 it has it. Okay, so that is one of the platform which is widely used, and it has an HDMI port. Okay, so you can see if you go to the website of Xilinx and just type ZCU 104, there's a separate web page which opens up. Okay, so you can connect somewhere around 4 PMODs to it. I mean 3 PMODs to it, and then it has different dip switches which you can use it, but widely used in terms of developing AI and ML applications. Okay, where it has to train some millions of images and give you the corresponding output. But as far as our Pink platform is an Ubuntu based Linux. Okay, it's not an embedded based Linux which is running in, and it would be having different packages in it. It also has an Ubuntu root file system which is out there. Okay, and it has somewhere around 512 MB RAM which is out there. And this particular Ubuntu root file system which is out there, it would help you to connect the same board to an Arduino header also. Okay, I'm repeating it. The platform Pink can be connected to an Arduino header file because of there is a kernel and a Ubuntu root file system which allows you to do that. It can also be integrated with a mic, as well as it can be integrated with a pulse width modulation based input. So whatever T on and T off is there, based on that you can control the operation of your clock as well as the processing speed of the processor or your ARM. Okay, there might be certain things like if I'm taking about 2 boards which are Pink, will I be able to use it? Yes, you can do that. So you can connect 2 Pink boards and then you'll be able to work on it. But there is a separate way of connecting it. Okay, so I'll talk about the connection part later. So where you'll be able to configure additional drivers. Okay, so you have to configure additional drivers whenever you want to interface what is called as 2 different Pink boards, or connecting Pink board with an ARM, like it might be a Raspberry Pi also. So you'll be able to do that. So how to connect that, all those things, we'll just check it in another couple of minutes. As far as the Zinc platform is concerned, it will be having an what is called as ARM A9 processor, L2 cache on it. Okay, where you'll be having the bit stream can be communicated here. UIF, iOS. There is one question here. Let me just check out what are the. Okay. Onwards, Pink supports. See, Pink basically there is an ISO file. If you go to pink.io, you'll be able to download that particular ISO file. You'll be downloading that particular ISO file. So, whatever Linux platform starting from 14.01, okay, you will be having a driver to your what is called as Linux. So there is something called as which you can generally use it and then communicate between your system and the hardware. Okay, that I'll come to that in a while. Give me some time. Okay, so Ubuntu details, I'll come to that. It might be any of the software or any of the operating system. Okay, it might be your Mac, Windows, or Linux. Okay, if you're able to install Terraterm, you'll be able to communicate and then you'll be able to work with it. Can I use PyCharm ID? See, about computer, Navid. So obviously, if you're able to install, like we had tried out with Jupyter. Okay, I mean Jupyter is far easier because the libraries and all has to be updated. Okay, so you can obviously use it with PyCharm also, but only thing is the ID has to be updated. Is there any additional software packages? Do we need? I'll come to that. I'll come to that. Give me some time, I'll come to that. Okay, so it has a DDR, okay, RAM, okay, so basically which acts as a controller where you'll be able to access these pins in terms of GPIO 1, 2, and then you can also use what is called as the AXI buses which are out there. So what happens here is whenever you talk about the FPGA, it will be having a pink overlay, okay. So whenever there is Linux, just understand there is Linux, okay, and then if whatever Jupyter notebook is there, it is running on Linux, there will be an AXI and pink overlays. So program the Jupyter, using a Jupyter notebook, through the pink overlays, it will come and deploy the algorithm on the board. Okay, so you as a designer need not worry about this. So Xilinx will already give you this pink overlays in an image file format. Just burn that into the board and then you can directly start using it. Okay, so in terms of pink framework, what are the overlays it supports? This slide would answer most of your questions. So you can see here, you have why I was just mentioning in terms of Jupyter Notebook also. You'll be able to understand here. In terms of applications, we know that Pink Notebook, where you have the libraries like Pandas, NumPy, Python, SCI, or it might be in terms of TensorFlow, right? So with certain commands like pip install, commands you can use in and then go on installing these apps on the SD card of the hardware. I'm repeating it, on the SD card of your hardware. Okay, so it would be ideal that you use a 32 GB SD card minimum. Okay, 8 GB is also enough. But I would suggest that if you are going for installing all the libraries which are there in Jupyter in terms of CNN, RCNN, right? So that would consume lot amount of memory. So I would ideally suggest, like, I'll be using I'm going with a 32 GB. What this framework also point out is that the different apps which are out there in Jupyter Notebook, which you can import and deploy. Okay. Followed by that, one more important question here would be like, sir, do I have to install Python in my laptop? Not at all required. Okay, you can directly access what is called as the hardware. Okay, and then you'll be able to work on it. So which I'll show you another 15 minutes. You can use the same board where you can write a Verilog or VHDL code in Xilinx Vivado and then or in QuestaSim Precision and then deploy the algorithm on the same board which is out there because the board support packages are already given to you. It also supports in terms of developing or doing something called as developing designs in terms of pink IPs. Like we have say associated to video processing and so on. So such kind of algorithms on real time, you'll be able to deploy on it. I request the participants to be on the mute mode. The person who has joined right now.
Yeah, Pramod, go ahead, go ahead.
Linux kernel, which is out there, which you can widely use in can be widely used in terms of Xstep and UI4. Interface basically is your AXI 4 buses which are out there, which is widely used in most of the Zinc architectures. So the same AXI it supports in, and you'll be able to develop different Vivado IPs, which is out there in Vivado. Okay, and then like it might be a Cognimem IP which is out there and be deployed on these platforms. Okay, so neural network IPs which I'm talking about, not only video and image, which I mean for video and image you can directly use your Jupyter notebook and then you'll be able to deploy the algorithm. So I'll show you those details. So as far as Vivado design is concerned, the data would be in terms of metadata, which is available in Python. So you can use your Vivado TLC file and where you will be able to pass what is called as a Vivado metadata file into the platform. So to be mentioned in a layman word, you can use Vivado, write a Verilog or VHDL code on it, a test bench, and use the same board, okay, and like whatever flip-flop or RAM kind of Verilog programming or VRAM algorithm you have developed in terms of an IP. With the same flow, you can use this board, okay, which is a low-cost board, and then program it. Okay. Whereas the clock frequencies are concerned, the clock frequencies are set here automatically, and you need not, I mean, the assigning of the memory map for every IP, it gives you in terms of Vivado, and in terms of what is called as routing also. Okay, it automatically takes care in terms of Vivado, and you have multiple memory IO drivers which are out there for the IP, and there is no specific bit stream which you haven't. So whatever bit stream you generate in with certain steps or routine, you'll be able to deploy the code using Vivado. But in case of Python, you need not generate bit stream and all. It automatically takes care of it. I'm repeating it. The Jupyter notebook, the way you run in, okay, you run it, and the algorithm will directly get deployed on the board. Please stay tuned as we go on that aspect. Okay, so as we go further, the packaging is concerned, the design is very precise, and it also has certain C drivers and Jupyter notebook which is out there, which is installed. And generally to install these drivers, okay, we'll be using the command called as pip install, which I was just mentioning it previously. You can use them, and then you'll be able to deploy the algorithms on them. And as the standard setup is concerned, the standard setup command which you can use in is setup.py. Basically, this is one of the command which you can use in whenever you want to do the installation. That's the standard Python installation. If you want to do that, you will be able to deploy the algorithms on hardware of your choice. As far as packaging is concerned, like you can directly, you know that GitHub is one of the place where you will be able to find lot of what is called as data. Just go to this particular website and then type a command called as pip install, and then mention the GitHub and mention the website details. The entire library or the program will come and sit on your board. Okay, so like that you'll be able to develop real-time what is called as applications using what is called as the Jupyter notebook. And you can also download the libraries and programs in terms of a Jupyter notebook and install directly onto what is called as the SD card of hardware which you're using it. That's your Pink hardware. As far as this is concerned, in terms of Pink enabling technology, as I was mentioning in, when you look into the language choice, you can see here, Python and C is one of the language which is fast growing in terms of ML and AI commonly seen. So this is one of the language which is having a lot of choice in terms of the technology and where it is being used in. As the ecosystem is concerned, currently you can see that under have somewhere around 135,734 projects which have been built in. Basically, these programs are either written in what is called a Jupyter notebook with a popular C, C++ framework. And there are inbuilt libraries also from Python, which have been used in whenever you're developing these kind of commands. So this has an advantage in terms of using the board for a startup. So say, for example, I'm from mechanical engineering, and then I want to use a FPGA for my EC unit or automatic driving assistance system, right? So, I mean, I've never studied Verilog or VHDL, but I know the concepts of C, right? So the best way to start up with using any of the boards is going to these kind of communities where you'll be having projects where they have briefed you how exactly you'll be able to use these platforms. Easy. What I can do right now is you can see here the Jupyter notebook basically widely used for an engine which is widely used in terms of data science. It is an open source browser based executable document. You'll also be able to do live scripting in terms of multimedia graphics and widgets. Somewhere around 1.7 million notebooks are available in GitHub, and which you can directly use in terms of what is called as programming and Ping. And there are different universities. So Berkeley University in USA has taught almost around 1,000+ students on based this particular platform once it was released into the market. So it's basically when you look into what is called as Jupyter notebook, it is a web-based IDE. And when you look into it, the Jupyter notebook is many plugins which you can use in terms of the system which you are using it. Okay. So we'll be able to do data visualization and visualize the data on real-time scenario. I have used Jupyter Notebook. So let us look into it, where you will be able to integrate with different plugins based on your requirement or your IDT, which I was just discussing in. We had board which is Pink Z1 board which we have in. Okay, so Pink Z1. So this is the board. Okay, so you can see that it has an audio jack. Okay, where you will be able to connect a mic and then perform different audio processing out applications. If you want to visualize that or that on a real time, you can also connect it to an audio out. Okay, where you'll be able to perform different audio processing application. Sarvana, I am doing it. Okay, so as far as this board is concerned, it has something called a jack which is out there. You can see here, this is where I'll be connecting my LAN cable. Okay, and I also have connectivity in terms of HDMI in and HDMI out. So you can see here, I also have an port which I can use it. Okay, HDMI out, I can directly connect a monitor which will be showing you in a couple of minutes how it will be able to do such kind of applications. You also can use an what is called as USB port here, where you will be able to connect a camera and then perform some video processing or image processing application or real-time scenario. You have also connectors of connecting what is called as PMOD. So you can directly connect PMODs here. Okay, and you also have connectivity in terms of connecting the board to a Raspberry Pi board. Okay, so Raspberry Pi board connections are also out there in platform. So if you look to the board which is on my right here, which is nothing but your you can directly see here. This is where you'll be connected to Raspberry Pi. Okay. So this would be the board which I'll be demonstrating it to you. So this is Zinc Z2. Okay, you can see here. This is where you have your LEDs. So you have 4 push buttons and the LEDs here. This is where I'll be able to connect like your Bluetooth sensor, moisture sensor. So different sensors I can connect it. This is where I have my audio jack. Okay, and then I can have different sensors which can be connected in. Like I have Bluetooth sensor. I can directly connect it to this particular point where there is an XV reference ground VN and VP, which can measure the real time what is data. Okay, so this is my Zinc 7000 IC, which is out there on my FPGA board. So this is my IC. You also have connectivity for a camera. So I can use a USB camera here and connect a USB camera on real time. And this I can connect it to a what is called as an HDMI monitor. Okay, you also have what is called as your what is okay, and this is your line in where you can connect something called as ADC based video processing, like something called as devices from NI. Okay, and it is capturing the real time uh, of vibrations using a vibration sensor also. So this is one of the port which you can use in where you will be able to perform different real time processing of that particular board. Okay, so this is where Raspberry Pi and Arduino you can connect in. You also have in transmitting the data to and fro. This is for the HDMI, and there is one more HDMI port here. This is the second HDMI port. That means you can connect 2 screens at a time. You also have connectivity in terms of connecting a camera. You also have what is called as the HC line in, okay, connector, and this is your audio out and audio in connector which you can use in vice versa. You also have connectors in terms of DC in. So if you are having a DC, you can directly use a DC power supply also. You can use this cable to give power supply to the board, your USB based cable, or you can use a DSC supply based connections also can be done on the same board. The latest one and the bit costlier one board which is used for research is ZCU 104. Okay, so if people are writing for research grants and all, they use this particular platform where if whatever IPs you develop in, it will directly go into the patent family. So we have different boards which are out there. So in that one family, in terms of ultra scale, it is ZCU 102. Okay, so this is one of the latest board which is widely used. Okay. So this was the which I just showed you, right? So you can see that there is a Raspberry Pi. Okay, this is how the board would look like. You can see here, these are your push buttons and you have your LED. So whatever form where which I burn in. Okay, so onto the SD card, that SD card will be inserted here. SD card will be inserted here. You also have something called connectivity in terms of what is called audio processing or performing radio processing, such kind of applications. And you have the connectivity for LAN and the associated jack. Either you can give a DC power supply or you can use what is called as USB based power supply, which you can use it. Okay. So as and then you'll be able to program it. So what I'll do right now is let me just come back to this in a while because I'll show you a different thing now. Here, I have my board which is being connected to my system here. So let me just show that to you. Give me 1 minute. I'm just setting it up. Minutes, guys. Commands and setting board. Just a minute. This is the board which I have it. Okay. So this is your board which is being connected to my laptop. Okay. You can see it has been connected via what is called as a LAN cable on real time. Okay. So this is the board which we would be using it for our programming currently. Okay, so this is a board which I have there's the SD card which is out there. Okay, so that's the SD card which I have connected it on real time. So you can see these are the LEDs that are out there. And once you boot in this device, there are certain new LEDs here which will glow on real time. Okay, so let us just start working on that particular board now. Wait, is this? And I've come here. So I can say CMD. That's my command prompt. And then the IP address of my board is somewhere around ping, I mean 192.168.2.9. Okay, so this would be the general IP. So you can see that it is communicating on real time with that particular board. Okay, so once this is been done, you can see here I have given the same IP, that is 192.168.2.99. Okay, so this is the same IP or the IP address of my board which I have given here. Okay, once I give that particular IP, okay, so what I is, let me just go into the folder here. So I am going and programming the board via what is called as, we just take an example of getting started. We just take it. Here, this is the getting started. So once you have what is called as a Jupyter notebook, which has been out there, so you'll be able to navigate into the board, or basically you'll be able to open up that particular board in terms of different LEDs which are out. Okay. Now, what I'll be doing here is like, let me just search out for the LED for program. That would be ideal. Mm, just give me one second. Okay. So this is one of the machine learning algorithm detecting what is called as your real-time what is identification. So you can see here, I have my BNN which is running on the pin. So you can see that it has to identify this particular image which is out there. So uh, having some as the package which you're importing in is BNN. Okay. Once you're importing the package, what you're doing in is you're using the CIFAR, what is called as the parameters associated to it, which is a CNN parameter. Followed by that, you instantiate the classifier in terms of the network and parameters associated to it. So the classifier is being instantiated. So in terms of BNN, okay, and you'll be having a list of classes in terms of CIFAR 10. What are the data set which it includes in? It might be in terms of airplane, automobile, and so on. Followed by that, you open the image that is out there in terms of an file, and you're trying to run that on the hardware now. So what I'll do here is let me just go on running this. It has imported. See, it is the root. So see, it is giving me the correct output now. I'm downloading the file. So give me the correct output. So you can see on the top, it is executing. Get that. Followed by that, if I go running this particular image, which is run this, now you can see that it has taken somewhere around 0.582 micros. Okay, that image, and it also gives you the class, that is the class is somewhere around 2. You can create software. I'm just trying to do that here. See that these are the inferences which it took in, and these are the classes, like it was trained with aeroplane, it was trained, right? And these are the inferences associated to that particular data. So inference in terms of a bird, the image is been identified. So like that, you'll be able to identify the scenario real time. Okay, you'll be able to identify the. So you'll be having something as, okay, so which will be able to identify that on real time. So once you want, you have heard scenario, you can also go and reset your device. So just with one two line code, you are able to reset the. Okay, so that will be reset. So what I'm doing right now is like I'm switching my camera. Give me 1 second, which is out there. It's here, right? Yeah, I have my USB camera. Do is I'll just connect the USB camera to the laptop, which was connected to it. I'm just connecting that particular USB camera to the. I'm connecting that USB camera. Okay. So USB camera to the hardware. No? So try out the command that command prompt. What is to do? I'll say 192.88.2.99. Okay, so we like that you can just parallelly. Let me just show you important thing. So you just go here and type pyn dot io. Okay, so bring into it. So until my board once again boots in, give me a couple of minutes. So since I've changed the camera now, connected the camera, we'll show you this example also, which I was trying to do. So, okay, you just leave. Okay, let me try out now. Website which you can look into it. Okay, .io. So this is the website where you can go check out the details. So this is the paid website where you can see it, and there were certain queries like what are the Linux platform it supports in. So all those details are out here. Okay, so you can just go here and click on this particular platform here. So it gives you a starter guide in terms of how exactly like that. So this is a guide in terms of ping Z2. So if I go here, it will show me how exactly we'll be able to set up the board. So if I just go here, it will give me a video in terms of how to set up the board. So what you have to do, you have to connect the LAN cable and the power supply, and then insert the SD card. Okay, turn on the power supply and then boot it. Okay, there will be a jumper here. So see if the jumper is maintained in the same position, and like that, there is an entire display of Ethernet cable has to be connected in, and so on. Okay, so followed by I just try once again cmp command prompt and then just ing ping 192.168.2.99. Okay, now you can see my board once again with the new camera. It has been loaded in. What I can do here is again come to my what is called as the notebook. So this was a program which we are. So you can see I have code. Okay, so this was the previously taken. What I'll do right now is I'll go on running it from first. Initially, it will give you a black and white image, okay, because generally it will take time to load the data. So um, supposed to be on the notebook. So let me press. Just captured the real-time image. Okay, if you want, you can do it once again. You can see the camera is turned on and it is capturing the real-time image of the board. I just showed you. has done is it has converted into black and white image with just 2 lines of code. With just 2 lines of code, it has converted that into black and white image. So you can see with this particular 2 lines of code, it has converted it into a black and white. And let me just take one more image from the top. So once it has taken that image, what it is doing here, it has converted that particular and to black and white, and then we are rotating it by an angle of 45 degree. Okay, so such kind of examples or time will be able to create in using what is called as MATLAB. I mean, in terms of Python as well as in terms of different libraries which you are using. So this is in terms of how exactly the platform will be able to use it. And let me come down here. Okay, show you one more important thing. This of the platform where you can see a requested to be on the mode. You can see here I have what is called as the and
Pramod, can you check the sound settings once?
hello. Now it is
Yeah, Pramod, now it's fine.
yeah. So you can see here in this particular video, you can see that on real-time scenario, it is actually performing what is called as high pass filtering. Okay, you are using the same Z2 to perform what is called as high pass filtering, average blur filtering on real-time scenario to be able to build such kind of setup. Okay. Also see here, it is without acceleration mode. It is able to perform somewhere around 5 frames per second. Okay. And I was talking about performing and parallel, right? So on your platform, you can also go ahead and write the parallelism based architecture. You'll be able to get that particular algorithm on an accelerated mode. You can see here we are running the algorithm on an accelerated mode, which is trying to perform the real-time processing on a real-time scenario where you can see that it is taking a video of 720 frames per second. I mean frames and pixels in terms of 60 frames per second. Okay. This is on an accelerated mode where you want your video processing, computer vision or machine learning algorithms to be running at this particular frame rate. You can also do that. Okay, so this is on accelerated mode. You can see that there is no lag. Okay, there is no lag in terms of what your laptop is processing it and you are visualizing that on a real-time scenario. Okay, so like this through LAN cable, you can directly go and connect your board on real-time scenario and then you'll be able to work on the platform. To go further with this, we also have
here to talk about inferencing demo running on Versal ACAP for ADAS and autonomous driving applications. Before I get into the demo, overview of Versal ACAP platform. Versal ACAP platform is industry's first adaptive compute acceleration platform. It has multiple engines to support the ever-increasing computation needs of various applications. It has dual Cortex A72 ARM processor subsystem, dual Cortex ARM real-time processor engine. It also has intelligent engines for machine learning computational needs, as well also signal processing computational needs. Apart from that, it also has the standard FPGA-based programmable logic for user logic. And along with all its features, we also have programmable network on a chip, which allows users to connect all these engines seamlessly to each other. In this demo, we have 4 live camera feeds coming in our MIPI, and before it goes into the machine learning network, we actually do image processing, and also we prep the images so that it can be fed into the tiny YOLO version 2 implemented in the AI engine block. Once the objects are detected on all the live feeds, the bounding boxes are drawn and mixed and displayed over HDMI. All of this implemented image capture pipe and the display processing pipes are running on the programmable logic. The tiny YOLO version is implemented in the AI engine, and all the software, embedded software, is running on the ARM system. So let's look at the hardware itself. Here is the demo. Here is the Versal VCK190 platform, which features VC1902 device, which is the first device in the Versal device family. And we are capturing 4 live feeds of camera over MIPI cameras. Here is the daughter card, which takes in all the 4 feeds. The daughter card is built by Amnet. The VCK190 allows you to have 2 such daughter cards, so you can do multiple camera feeds. Once the image processing and the machine learning inferencing is done, the output is displayed over HDMI here. Here you can see the 4 live feeds where objects are being detected and bounding boxes are drawn and displayed over HDMI on a single screen. Lastly, let's look at the embedded software part of it. Xilinx has standardized on V4L or Video for Linux for capture pipes and DRM for the display pipes. Xilinx provides all these drivers for MIPI capture, HDMI capture, similarly on the display side. Along with the V4L and the DRM drivers, Xilinx also provides GStreamer plugins for all the capture pipes, making it easy for users to build their own pipes and designs. And all of these drivers and the embedded application is running an ARM processor subsystem. Lastly, if you're excited about this demo and you want to learn more about the Versal platform or VCK190 or the demo itself, please contact your local sales office. Hello.
We also have new platform which is out there from NVIDIA Jetson Nano. So this is also a single board, say GPU, where it has somewhere around 128 cores on it. So you can see here, it's very small, okay, where you can connect what is called as a USB cable. You can connect 4 cameras to it, okay. You can connect 2 HDMI ports to it, okay. You can connect what is called as a wireless mouse and can be interfaced with your Wi-Fi module also, where you can make this particular board to work as a single board computer. And let me tell you, it has somewhere around 128 cores. Okay, so whereas your normal system would have somewhere around 4 cores, chip, which is somewhere around 14,000 rupees, you'll be able to develop whatever AI ML applications in terms of not only deploying, you can also perform the training. So it has that capability in terms of what is called as GPU. This is one of the platform which you can look for in terms of procuring in. And these are few of the boards which we use in for setting up the center of excellences. Similarly, if you go further with this same setup, we can use it for detecting something called as live feed video detection. We also have platforms like we have NVIDIA TX1 here. So you can see here, this is one of the platform which is widely used in terms of research. So this also supports somewhere around processing real-time video processing, where it is trying to identify that this real-time feed of a video in terms of identifying that mouse with certain accuracy. It can identify a cup, mug. So there are different LXNet, GoogleNet, ResNet algorithms which are out there. It might be either what is called as Python or MATLAB. You can directly do the programming and deploy the algorithms on hardware of your choice. So we also tried it with Intel and Raspberry Pi. So such kind of things also most of the people would have been done in. What kind of projects we are able to do till now is, in this case, you will able to see that we are able to identify the emotion of people around, okay, whether the person is happy, neutral. And let me tell you, this particular project entirely was developed by Miss Varsha, who is an intern from MSRIT, who was there with us for almost 1 year, and currently within that 1 month, she was able to develop these 2 projects under our guidance at our office in Bangalore. So these are for few of the platforms which you can look for. In the second project, you can see that it's a real-time attendance system where It is able to identify the people with their faces and tell you like the name of the corresponding people. And we also have this TX platform used in for developing the AI and ML application. Okay, so going further, as far as the FPGAs with GPUs are concerned, it plays a vital role in terms of development and video processing and developing AI and ML applications. Okay, so that's it from my side. Up from my perspective, if Param and Ramesh wants to add up anything, they can just add up further in terms of whatever content they want. I hope the entire session was
Pramod, yeah, it's good enough. I think we have said that Ramesh Naidu here. I think we have shared the feedback link, and once it is collected to that, then we'll be sending all the required details. I think you have covered almost all the things from introduction till the end of the session. So good enough from my side. So thank you. Okay. So we'll just wait for this. Anything to be added, Param? You can add it.
Yeah. Thanks,
think
Pramod.
Param-
Thanks, Ramesh.
Param, there are certain the mail ID. So just display that website details and
Yeah, I will do it.
slide. You have it, or do you want me to display?
The feedback has been shared in the chat box. I request participants to fill the feedback. So as I was mentioning in the morning, means in the start of the session, the feedbacks are very important. So the certificates will be based on your feedbacks. I request participants to fill that feedbacks without missing it. So I thank you all the participants, and these are our contact details. If someone wants to get in touch with us, so they can contact us. So as I was telling you, we are starting off our internship batch from tomorrow. If someone is interested, yes, they can ask questions. Please ask questions. There is an opportunity for participants to speak. Please go ahead and speak. If any questions.
I have one or two questions.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am. Hello.
Please go ahead, ma'am. Your voice is not audible. Yeah. Please go ahead and ask.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
The session was really good.
Yeah, thank
so,
you,
sir, I have two concerns because anyway, we are maybe the first time hearing a lot of informative session. It was for 1.5 hours. It was such an informative session. Sir, I have a couple of questions. One is on the hardware. So the Ubuntu based you spoke about, right? So basically what I understood is if you have a Ubuntu system, as you said, the packages are already there. If
Yes.
you connect, we can just download and use it, right?
It's not
or is
the
it, because anyway, yeah, I don't know whether my understanding is correct.
Which I was just talking about, I'm just sharing my screen once again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So once we go into ping.io, you will get an ISO file, man. Okay, so if I just ping.io, I'll be getting an. Okay. So this, I mean, your Ubuntu, which you're talking about, is not running on your system. In my system, I have Windows. This is the system where I have Windows running it. So this is a Windows system, which I am connecting it to Linux system, which is running on the board.
Okay, so the board is running on, board is connected to what, both the machines, or it is onto the Linux machine or your Windows machine?
LAN cable, through the LAN cable, I have connected it here. To the LAN cable, connected it to going here and then typing the IP of the.
So I think you're showing it on the screen. I just need only that step, sir. That I'm just confused with your hardware setup and the software connectivity. That's all. I just wanted to understand that.
Yeah. See the video.
No, I'm not able to see the screen.
Okay, 1 second. You can see the screen at least.
Mohammed, can you share your screen? It is not shared.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, now it is still loading. Yeah. I think it should be visible now.
Yes, it's loading, I think.
So you can see here, this is the first thing what you're doing is you are actually keeping this jumper in this particular way.
Right.
Followed by that, you have the SD card which you're going to insert. This
Yes,
SD card, whatever website which I just showed you, that is ping.io, you'll go and download the ISO file from here, like what we have it Ubuntu.
Okay.
Your Raspberry Pi.
Okay. Okay.
So it will ask you which board you are using it. So you can see here there are boards, like board images, like I'm using two. Download the actual ISO file. So once I download this ISO file, what I'll do is I'll copy that ISO file into this SD card. I burn the entire ISO. So this ISO is running inside this particular SD card. This SD card, I'm going to insert it into my board.
Okay.
Board is your Linux is going to boot up on the board, ma'am, not on my system. It's on board. The Linux is going to boot up with the firmware.
Okay.
So to access, I'll be using I'm using this command prompt, and here I go and say ping. The board IP is 192.168.2.99. So once the board is turned on, it says that the board is turned on. Now, since the board is off, okay, it will not show you the details.
IP addresses which is there for the board, right? Fine. Got it. Okay.
So once here, you're able to get into the board, and then once I go to my Jupyter notebook, I'll be able to program it. So in what I was doing is I was typing the same name. 192.168.2 dot that I was typing. So I'm going inside that board, and there I'm running the Jupyter, not on my laptop. I was not running Jupyter on my laptop. I was running the Jupyter notebook on that hardware. Yeah. So there was one question by Naveed, like, can we install what is called as PyCharm? So PyCharm, you have to go to this address and access that particular PyCharm ID.
Oh, so there you can change the thing, right? Where what you wanted to use it, not necessarily that you have to. Oh,
yes.
Okay. So I thought you were doing that on the machine side. That is what I was doing it, getting as a confusion. The machine side.
I'll show you. SD card. The card which I have. And now this is the where you're connecting your LAN. This is the LAN, and this LAN has gone to my. And once I plug on the power supply, that's my power supply with the USB and the LAN cable. You'll be able to connect it to the board, and then you'll be able to work. So, LAN cable, which is being connected to my system, you are actually accessing it.
Yeah. Got it. I was thinking about the system side and then installing these things. Then I was wondering, what is that, trying?
Linux is running this.
Oh, got it. Sir, I have one last question. Sir, something you mentioned about the neural network application or something, I think, if I'm right. So is it like, yeah. So how good this is supporting for the neural network? Because with the pink or
Yes, we have already developed few of the projects, not only in terms of CNN, CNN, all those things we have developed using the Jupyter Notebook. We are able to do that. So if I show here, if I just go here, give me 1 minute. If I just go to the ping.io and to the community, here you can see here whatever this neural network thing was there. So the developed, and it's already working in live. So you can see here, this is for 5G Gaussian filtering, which I just showed you in terms of facial recognition, right? So these CNN algorithms which are running. So if I talk about computer based, you can see here, this is one of the projects. So if you have a Jupyter notebook, you will be able to run that. You will be able to extract that particular code, and then you'll be able to work on it from the GitHub.
Okay.
vehicle identification, or it might be identifying a cat and dog. It will give you a bounding boxes on real time, and then you'll be able to work on it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So any other questions from the participants?
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. First part was I just disconnected after the session because the board was getting hit. Other side, I'll show you one second.
Any questions from the participants end? Hope everyone is submitting the feedback. I am repeating, feedback is very important.
Hello.
Yes, PPT will be shared. PPT will be shared.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
So if we wanna implement any artificial intelligence on this means, train the so
Yeah, we did.
commit with so many example and training sets. That time, how
Yes.
can it possible to process all those things, sir?
See, training data set, whatever that data which is related to cars, vehicles, and the data associated to animals, right?
Yeah.
So there are somewhere around 1,000 classes which are being used in that data set. Okay, the extracted features have been loaded, and then it is performing the training with that amount of time. So whatever demo which I showed you, it was on the training only.
So it's before
Yeah.
the notebook will install that hardware.
Yeah, so when you go to the Jupyter notebook, you will be having a shared folder location. Okay, so there are commands where you can access the location of the folder. There you share the location. So whatever that in the Jupyter notebook, you are seeing that I was just typing the location, right? So that location you have to mention in, and then you'll be able to, yeah, you'll be storing that images somewhere around 300 to 400 images up to 1,000 if you are doing transfer learning. But if you're doing in terms of scratch, you would require images in terms of more than a million. Yeah, but it should be bounded boxes. If I'm talking about AlexNet, the image size should be resized into 227 cross 227. If your image size is very large, you have to reframe it, resize the image into 227 cross 227.
Yeah.
So the VLSI workshop you're talking about, yes, we will intimate you. So we have your contact details. We will intimate you if you are conducting any workshop on VLSI. Any other questions from the participants then? I have shared the feedback link. I request all the participants to fill it. I'm repeating, without feedback form, the certificate will not be issued because we consider feedback form for the certificates. I request participants to fill the feedback form. Any queries, they can put it in the chat box. Yes, we are going to share the PPT. So that has been already told. Thank you, sir. Mr. Ramalakshmi. Thanks, ma'am, for the feedback. And Pramod, there is one question, Pramod. Is Ping Z1 supports? Pramod, there are a few questions. Can you just take it up?
I think Ubuntu version of Ubuntu I've just discussed. Followed by that, is there any editing? Download the ISO file here. So whichever I just showed you. So we go to that page. So it would be having all the libraries associated. Okay, extra files, everything it will take care. So this pink image would have all the things system. So you can just put this. Okay, so it would be having the Jupyter notebook also installed on it. You need not do any installation. Okay, so it will directly have all these things installed on it. Just go to that IP and then you have to access it. Once you purchase the book, the IP would be mentioned there. Okay. Vinita, there is one question. See here, I was just using the ping board itself. So using the IP here. So I had just used the IP here, and then through that IP, I was using the board itself directly.
Sir,
the board directly.
Yeah, so the sync board
Yeah.
directly you have, that time I posted, but after you clarified my doubts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
same sync board, then you just download it. I understood that you cleared my doubt.
Yeah. I don't have Ethernet port on my PC or laptop. How do I set up my computer to connect to the board? Cyan, what you can do is you have PMODs which you get in. Okay, so PMODs has a Wi-Fi module. Okay, so you set up a VPN based on the same Wi-Fi module which is out there, and then through Wi-Fi you can actually control that device. It's like a computer only. So how exactly you'll be communicating between two computers? The same you can create a shared folder, and that way you can communicate. Okay, so that's one thing which you can do.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome. Interport connection. Yes, we can do interport connection. I just showed you in my here. You can just see that. So on the top, you can see that here you'll be able to connect your Raspberry Pi. Your board can be done in, and you can do interport connection also. That means ping can be connected. So once I boot up, you can see here, like be online. So I've just connected the board once again. You can see here, I'm just turning it on. In a couple of minutes, there will be certain blue lights which will boot in once it's been booted. Okay, so it will take a couple of minutes. Okay, in the meanwhile, just observe that once that boots up, we'll just mention you that. And parallel, let me just check out. PPTs will be shared. Video recording you have to check with Param. PPTs obviously will be shared. Where is the IP typed in the Jupyter notebook? So you can,
That I was trying to. No, it is clear. That doubts are cleared. I had asked all those things during the session.
is supported. You can see now it is booted up. You can see that blue light coming in there. So now the board has been booted up. Okay. Now once the board has been booted, just let me just minimize this, and I'll come here. And now what I have to do is I'm just typing CMD, and now ING 192.168.2.99. Okay, so you can see now. Okay, now I can come. This can just type 192. For the first time, it will ask you to enter what is called as the password. So board you'll be having it. Once you do that, it is showing you what are the files which are out there inside my board. Okay, so you can just take up one what is called as program, and then you'll be able to work on that particular. So you can see this is how the board would look like. Just hold it for you. I mean, I have to run the program parallelly. Just give me 1 minute. It's a Boolean generator which I'm running on it. Okay, now if you see, the LEDs are off. Previously these LEDs were there, no? It was in the on. It was on. So what did I do in my program is that I just turned it off. Okay, now again let me just run that. Now you can see that these are the two LEDs which are out there. When I press this two push buttons, those LEDs has to turn on. So let me just do that also. So let me just come back to my camera. Can you see now? Right? Right. So like that, whatever algorithm which you write in will be able to deploy the algorithm from Jupyter to the hardware. So we used to write that AND gate, NAND gate, different kinds of logic here, right? So XOR function, whatever you want, you'll be able to do that. And using the logical overlays, you're just calling that and then deploying the algorithm on the board. So there was board-to-board connection. This is where you'll be able to connect it to the Raspberry Pi board. And whatever digital logic kind of applications you want, you'll be able to do that. Since we had session on AI, that's the reason I had shown you the demo on AI. So you can see here, let me just go to that also. PNN, and I can take up the CFAR pen. Okay, so let me just go on running. So you're importing the BNN, okay, and then you are loading this in terms of the weight. Okay, so it would be taking care of that as far as the data is concerned. So you can see the classes also. So the class which we were talking about, that has been stored inside the directory, okay, of aeroplane and all. It's been stored, and then it will identify that whatever data you have loaded in is the image of what is called as DH. Okay. Any other questions? I hope now it is clear.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, any other queries? I'll be ending the session in another 1 minute. You mentioned about writing. Pramod, there's one more question, Pramod.
Yeah. No
From,
issues.
from Vinita, madam.
Sir, just about that C, I have just put it in the chat box.
Yeah, ma'am.
Maybe I think I have this Jupyter. You're writing the code in that place. This Jupyter is a platform where you write to code. I just didn't understand it.
Yeah, ma'am.
Maybe I have not used this Jupyter. That's why this doubt. I don't know.
Okay. Basically, there we write the program, and then from there you are deploying it.
Jupyter is a platform where you used to write it, right? This thing. You can write C also there. That is what you.
No, this is a Jupyter notebook which is installed on that board, ma'am.
Yeah.
So you can install Jupyter on your laptop also and then work on Python, right? So it's an IDE. It is running on the board, ma'am.
Okay. So now, how about instead of Python, we can use C, is what you said, no? There.
No, you can use the programming like HLS you have, right, ma'am? So in Vivado there is an HLS. So there you write the embedded C program and then deploy the algorithm on the same board. You can write Verilog and VHDL in Vivado and then deploy the algorithm on the same board. Or you can use Jupyter Notebook and then deploy the algorithm on this board. You can also use Keel also and then do the programming. But you have to add the board support package there to the library.
Oh, okay. Fine. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pramod. I think thanks. I think most of the participants have submitted. If anyone has missed, I request them to fill the feedback. So without feedback, as I was telling in the beginning, without feedback, not be able to give the certificates. I request participants to fill it. Don't miss filling the feedback. There in the chat box. I'll be waiting another 1 minute because once I close the session, you will not be able to get the feedback. I request participants to fill the feedback. Please, I think it's already. So I am waiting for 1 minute. Yeah, Pramod.
Param, 1 second. I'm just sharing my screen for 1 minute.
Yeah, please go ahead. So in the meantime, I request participants to fill the feedback.
Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Is that we could fill the feedback in the form Google Forms, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Because half of the session we could not hear some of the things, so I request I'll forward that. I will write that in the Google form itself.
No
Yeah,
issues.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So you can see here, this is the board which we have it. So you can see the LEDs are turned on, and that's the LAN cable which I've connected in. Here you have the Raspberry Pi ports. These are for your PMOS, and that's the camera which I was just talking about. So it is this where I'm writing the algo. Okay, so this is the board which I have. Yeah, that's it from my side, Param. I hope most of the questions are answered. If they are looking for anything as such, they can write us a mail.
Yeah, thank you, Pramod. So
Yeah.
thanks all the participants for joining this 90-minute session. If anybody has any queries, they can send an email to support@agimustech.com. Also krn@applyvolt.com. If anybody has any technical queries, they can send it to us. So we will be able to help you out. I request participants not to send an email regarding the certificate. Certificates will be sent within about 3 days. Okay. Thank you. Thanks all the participants. I'm ending the session.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pramod. Thanks, Ramesh.
Thanks, Ramesh. Thanks, Param. Bye. Thanks for the participants.